And we're back with another Black with No Cream podcast episode. This one is live from Sundance Film Festival. Yeah, we're here in Park City, Utah, which is pretty surreal. I've always wanted to come, and luckily Adobe reached out and asked me if I wanted to come do a few episodes out here. So we're here. Today's episode is with Kinigra Deon. She is a YouTuber. Her channel has 4.7 million subscribers, which is insane because she started this channel about 2018 with no film experience, no content experience. She wasn't doing anything like this at all. Started a YouTube channel, has grown this thing into something that produces 3 episodes weekly. I'm talking about like scripted concepts that they're shooting and releasing 3 times a week, and has been doing it for 5 years straight. She's uploaded hundreds of videos, has all these subscribers that look forward to her content. So it's cool to sit down with her and hear her story about how she got into this, how she grew the channel, and how she's been able to maintain it. And I'm talking about like they're buying houses to shoot content in at this point. The channel is blowing up. So it's cool. I'm going to get into it. But before we start, if you haven't joined the community, you got to do it. The link is in the description as always. Thanks to Adobe for having us here. It's pretty cool. Let's get into this podcast episode right now. We'll just start it like this. Where are we right now? We're at Sundance in Park City, Utah. And I'm blessed. Kinigra, you are here because you work really, really hard on YouTube.
Yes, I do.
I'm a new subscriber. So I've been learning a lot recently. I've been trying to digest interviews and things like that to learn about you. And I think it's crazy to see what you're doing. You're doing 3 video uploads a week.
Yes.
And I'm not talking about like a daily vlog. No. This is like you're making TV, but for YouTube.
Yes.
And I know you've probably dealt with people that are like new and learning about it, and it's like you're like, yeah, I know it's crazy, but I think what's interesting is you have like this crazy, like you follow intuition. Like that's what I've been learning about you. It's like it seems like your career is based off of you following your own intuition.
Yeah,
is that true?
True.
Is it?
It is true.
So
I've never said that anywhere.
I just feel that.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
I feel it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I think like when I'm thinking about it, it seems like, I heard your origin story, like how it kind of fell into like you starting your channel and things like that. But I'm curious, like compared to now from when you first started, what is like the drastic differences in how you're operating?
When I first started, I really didn't know what I was doing. I was just trying to find myself really. Mm-hmm. And I met a group of creators and I just started loving what they showed me that they were doing, and I took it a step further. I think the biggest difference from when I first started to now is that I incorporate my family in the majority of everything that I do, and that makes it tough, but it also makes it more rewarding to see that everyone comes in, we support each other. Everyone has their own YouTube channel. We're all creators, and now we are like little miniature film. I'm not gonna say miniature. We're filmmakers.
That's right.
That's what we are.
Right. There you go. Yeah. Which is cool because it's like, you said like your family's involved. Yeah. I know it like started with you, and then you went home and you started incorporating your family. Mm-hmm. And the scale of this is like drastic. And why I say like at the beginning when it started with, it was just you and maybe it was just you kind of figuring it out. Mm-hmm. Now it seems that you have like this big team behind what you're doing. Yeah.
We have 2 productions. So, we have like one family set. So we have on our first production is all family. So we have a cinematographer who we trained. One of our cousins runs sound. Another one will help direct. The other one will write. So we have that crew. And then our second crew comes from Atlanta, and it's another cinematographer, someone who runs sound. They kind of like mix between gaffing sometime too. Right. So sometimes we'll have a gaffer that comes in and pre-light, and then the cinematographer kind of takes over that.
Yeah, so, but when you first started, what was it?
It was me.
You doing what?
Filming, editing, writing, scripting, directing, playing all the roles, being an actress, everything.
Okay, so I set that up purposely because your youth. I'm so curious because I know it sounded like, remind me of the year. This is like 5-6 years ago.
5 years ago, 2018. 2019 is when I first started YouTube. Yeah.
But it was just because someone was doing like a skit and you got in it, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what inspired you. But to then fall in love and start doing all those roles, wearing all those hats, where's that come from? Because I'm curious, like your youth, like where did you come from, and like how did you have creative inspiration? Were you dreaming of this prior to that?
No, No, I was a clinical laboratory scientist. But what's crazy is I don't know, my family always say like I was super dramatic. Like, say for example, if you tell me something like, hey, what if when Reggie, my husband's Reggie, if Reggie died today and immediately my head sees him dying and I'm crying. And they're like, we're just talking about hypotheticals, but I could feel it. So they always say like I was really like dramatic. And so when I started acting, if I thought that this would be something that's successful, I'm pretty sure it would have been like a career that I would go into, because when I did do it, it was like, this is fun. I get to play these characters. I get to tell stories. I get to reenact some of my childhood. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. So, yeah, it was more like I found something that I loved that I didn't even know that I loved it.
So, like, when you were in high school, were you doing theater? You were doing nothing?
Nothing. I was like math, science. I love math. I love science. I went to the University of Alabama. I majored in chemistry. So, yeah, nothing to do with any type of entertainment.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I moved to LA to be a clinical scientist, and that's where I met those creators.
What is that exactly?
So a clinical laboratory scientist is basically they're the people in the lab. So anytime you have a specimen, they send it to us, and we like test it.
Oh, cool.
So yeah.
So then when you were going to school to become that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was really. This is going on a tangent. I went to school at first to be a pharmacist, and then I interned at a pharmacy, and I hated it.
Yeah.
And then I went and got my master's in, because what can you do with a chemistry degree? Nothing.
Right.
So then I ended up getting my master's in CLS, which is clinical laboratory science, and I became that. Did I love it? No, I was just doing it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can say I didn't love what I was doing, and I really feel like it was God that just said, hey, you don't like that, come to LA. It was weird that I never lived in LA before. I just randomly moved.
Had you always lived in Alabama?
Yep.
And you just went to LA?
Did
you have friends or something going out there?
Nope.
You just found a job opportunity?
Yep,
or?
that was it, a job.
That's so random.
It's so random. I'll tell you the real reason. He's over there. So we've been together. Yeah. No, we're both from, me and my husband, we're both from Birmingham, Alabama. But like, we've been together since I'm 36. I'm 36. And we've been together since I was like 21. So think about that age.
Yeah.
So during that time, like, I'm going to go to LA and I'm going to leave and I'm going to, and so, yeah, I went to LA during that time.
Did he follow you out there?
He did, and he tried.
He tried? Mm-hmm. He said, I'm doing this for myself.
Yeah, I'm going. Yeah. And so, but then we still was talking. We didn't break up. And so I was in LA, he's in Birmingham, and then I just moved back to Birmingham.
So, I mean, we'll get into your content, but I think obviously your content's inspired by growing up in Birmingham, right? Like your childhood stories. Yeah. And it specifically, like, I could tell you're talking to the young you. Like, you're creating content for something that you would probably want to consume as a kid. So what was it like growing up in Birmingham for you?
In Birmingham, I'm from Shelby County, so it's like very country. And so you have a lot of Black stories, like your mom make you get up and go to church, you know. You have things like your cousins, you're playing with all your cousins, and then you have your older siblings and I'm the youngest, I have nothing but sisters. But I really feel like the content creation came from, I love romance movies, right? And so even just growing up, I've always loved romance movies. And it was rare that you see so many different Black films playing vampires, mythical characters, finding like romance where you see the girl and she meets the perfect guy or this drama, and it's hard to find that. And so now I'm just making them. That's it. So I make it so that we have something to look at. Yeah. Yeah.
That's sick. So I moved, I lived in LA for like 9 years, and I moved back to Iowa about 2 years ago. And going home has inspired so much like nostalgia. Yeah. So it's like, and I don't know if that happened for you, especially like obviously once you start getting busy with this and you move back home, but was there like things that have you been creating things that play a similar parallel line to like you as a young girl, or like you growing up or going through the motions of life that you've tried to,
I almost create an escape for girls that grew up like me because we didn't have anything, right? We grew up really poor. My mom, she worked 2 jobs. My dad, he worked all the time, but we still didn't have much. And so a lot of the films are to escape that. It's like I don't really show that too much in the film because when you already are experiencing that, you don't want to you want to see some type of success story. You want to see happy endings.
Yeah.
And so I create the films for people to escape if they need to and see a happier ending.
Yeah. It's so interesting how it's like, because I don't know, I just feel like so many people that become filmmakers, directors, executive producers, running production companies, it's like they somehow found it early or whatever. And so this doesn't happen to you till you moved to LA, you have this job, and
met some creators.
You met some creators and they just had you hop in a video.
Yep.
And then was it just like an instant bug, or was it like you kind of weren't feeling hyped on your job, so you were kind of like seeing that they had, like they were finding some sort of success through creating content?
So how it happened was, like, it's not like I didn't hate my job, but it wasn't like, it's not a passion.
Yeah.
And honestly, I didn't even think I had a passion, right? It was just like, this is what you do. You go to work. So the creators I was filming with, when it's time for me to leave set, I'm like, okay, where you guys work? And they were like, we don't. This is what we do. So I'm like, you do this for your job? Okay. Yeah. Well, show me. I want to learn.
And what were they doing? Like, what exactly
They were doing
was it?
skits, like little 3 to 5 minute skits. So it was like comedy, but it wasn't like super cinematic, but it was still scripted-ish.
Yeah.
I'm not going to even say, it was more improv script. So you'll go in there, tell you, hey, this guy's cheated on you, and now you need to pretend, and then we go action, and that's it.
Okay.
So I'm like, you guys make money from just this. This is really easy to me. And so I learned how to edit. I learned how to film. I learned how to write. And at the beginning, the writing did come from like past experience, because the first content was more geared toward older audiences, like who were in relationships or had relationship issues or friendship issues, that kind of stuff. And then once I went home, my nieces, they were like, I watched your YouTube video, and it was about my boyfriend cheating on me. And I'm like, wait a minute. I don't. And so me and her, we did this video. She wanted to create with me. So I'm like, okay, TikTok came around. And so me and my niece, we started doing this like TikTok video where I'm like her mom, and this little girl is messing with messing with my child. And I'm like, I'm 3 too. And so that's what kind of took off into like me knowing, oh wait, I don't have to just do older content. I can do content that I like doing, and that my family would like watching, and that I feel good about. And so from there, we started doing TikToks and more family geared content.
Because you have a big family?
Yeah. So
younger.
Yeah.
Everyone.
So I have 4 sisters. My husband, he has 4 siblings as well too. So yeah, so we have that, and then we have cousin. There's a lot of us: nieces, uncles, aunties, uncles. Like my mom has 10 siblings. So yeah, it's a lot of us. And it started with all my family, and then it went to friends of family, and then friends of friends of family.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna start casting. Like this is gonna be our first year where we're gonna start casting and
dope.
putting, like doing it a little bit more outside of family too.
So like 2 questions. One, what was it that made those original people like ask you to be in the thing if that's not like what you were doing?
I met this girl. Her name is Monetize. And the way we met is because she heard my accent. And she was like, where you from? And I was like, where you from? And I was in LA because I was just out at the skating rink. And she was like, South Carolina. And I was like, Alabama. And we're like, okay, let's hang. And so she was like trying to become a creator at the time. And she would make like these Instagram vines at the time. Like, it was like, I think you do 15. No, it was a minute at that time.
Right.
And so she asked me to be in this video. And I'm like, okay, And so me and her started creating it, and I was like, well, I could do it too. And I tried creating it, and I think they saw those few Instagram videos. And so that's how they end up asking us to, and she was one of the creators too that they asked to be in the videos.
And did you have like an audience, or was this just like people were watching this from home? Like,
I didn't have an
family?
audience. No,
Yeah.
on IG at that time, I probably had like 1,200 followers. If
Right.
that, I was just doing some, yeah.
So what was your as you're making that stuff, what's your family's reaction? Because it's like, I'm assuming no one guessed this is what you were going to do.
No,
or that
not
you
at
could
all.
have even.
My family, they're just like really supportive. But then I had some family members that were like, what are you doing? You look, you need to go to church. You need to go to God because you're embarrassing yourself.
Damn.
I'm like, really? And so then I remember asking my friends, like, was that bad that I did? Because one of them was like me acting like this crazy girlfriend.
Yeah.
And they were like, I'm like, was that bad? They were like, no. This is my LA friends. No, it's funny. It was good. I'm like, okay. So I'm glad I kept going.
Right.
But yeah.
So is that like, does that ever happen like as years progress, the maybe self-doubt or maybe like a naysayer, or not that they're trying to bring you down, but people questioning your art or you trying to explore art? Because that's the hardest part is like you're entering into becoming an artist and experimenting creatively, and you don't know what's going, like you don't know what you're doing. You're just doing it and testing it. But then if someone says something like that and you got to question it as you continue to grow, because then you're doubling down. Like you're doubling down on taking this. At what point did you quit your job?
See, I'm a planner. So
Okay, right.
I had to have a certain amount in my account.
Smart.
I had to make sure, because at first, I remember I got my first YouTube check and I was like, holy crap, this is crazy. And so I wrote in my book that I was going to quit by August of 2020. Yeah. So my first YouTube check was August 2019, and I think it was like $8,000.
Right.
And so then my November check was $3,000. So I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. Maybe it's not going to be what I thought it was going to be. And so I'm like, all right, but by August of 2020, I should have this. I should be consistent enough to be able to be a living. And so COVID happened in January. It was like January, February. And I was like, holy crap, how am I about to create content now? And so during that time, that's when I really start getting creative. And I was like playing 10 characters, like no lie. Like I played like a kid,
like it's just
10
you in the
students, it's
video.
just me in the video. Because at the time, everyone was scared to be around people. So I have my camera set up. I'm looking at to see make sure I'm in focus, and I'm playing the characters, and then I'm going and editing the video. And so by March, I think March was that, it was like, holy crap, everyone's watching on Facebook, on YouTube. And the monetization was just really nice. I was like, I could quit now.
Right.
And I did.
Early. That's sick.
Yeah. Because I was like, as long as I have enough in my account, because I worked for the federal government at any time, you can always go back. It's easy. Once you're in, it's easy to kind of like get rehired. But I made it a thing that I was going to be consistent. And so how the 3 times a week posting came, like the Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday that I post now.
Which, mind you, when she's saying this right now, it's like I'm looking, some of these episodes are 30 minutes.
Yeah.
An hour, 3 times a week.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. Yeah. But how you started with that?
I started that because at one point I was like, I have to give it my all. And so it would, instead of just saying, I'll post this tomorrow. Oh, I'm tired, I'll post this. I had to say, like, no, you have to post 3 times a week, no matter what. And so that was the thing. No matter what, I had to post Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And I could not miss the posting date, because that's the only way that I could truly take this serious and be locked in. And what happened was really how my YouTube channel pivoted over to family geared content, because I started doing family geared content on TikTok, but I didn't have anything to post on YouTube. So I took my TikToks and I formatted those into like a YouTube format, and I just uploaded it. And I felt good because I made my posting date. But from there, my TikTok following found my YouTube channel. And so it was almost like, fate. Like, it found it. And then I had 2 videos that I did with my my step baby and my my brother-in-law. And it was just, they just wanted to do videos with me. And I'm like, all right, come on, I'll go film them with you. And I just had those videos and I posted them. They didn't do well at first, but then that TikTok following found me. And
so were you was TikTok your primary?
No.
Or were you thinking like YouTube will be my primary and TikTok's just like supplementary, or maybe I'm teasing and that was maybe a goal?
TikTok was literally just because I needed my nieces to be able to find me on another social platform than YouTube, because YouTube was geared toward for adults. And so that was me just creating content with them so that they felt included.
Yeah.
So that like they can say they thought I was famous then because of views that I would get on YouTube at the time. And so we were just creating on TikTok just to create.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So.
But is it something like for you, did you feel like there was a challenge in deciding, because at some point I've seen a lot of people on YouTube focus more on TikTok because it's like, oh, I can make shorter pieces that get more views. Were you ever questioning trying to like pivot that way? Because you like the ability to tell the story at the length that you wanted to.
Yeah, I like storytelling.
Yeah.
And actually the shorter content is harder for me.
Is it?
Yeah. It's hard for me to create shorts. Like scripted shorts, ideas. I love telling a full story that has like, the plot twist or the climax, and then it comes like, no, that's what I love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it the 3 days a week? So like that was like 2019. This is like when you quit your job. So were you inspired by, people were doing daily vlogging. They were, they had consistent schedules. It was like common to have that. Was that the reason why you chose that, or why?
I chose it because I needed to make myself consistent.
Yeah.
So like, for example, even if I was to do like, I'm a list person and I hate not checking something off. So it was, and I knew that I needed to be consistent and I wanted to see what consistency would look like. So I came up with I can do 3 times. I knew that I could post 3 times a week if I really just utilize my time correctly. And so that's how it came. At the time, I didn't even know many YouTubers. I didn't even know like how successful you could really be on YouTube. It was just, this is what I like doing. I'm going to be consistent. And the only way I can be consistent is I create me a schedule. Right. And so here's my schedule, and I cannot miss this schedule, or I'm going to have to put that I didn't check off that. And that to me, like, I hate, like, I'm the person, that you see your phone with the little numbers. I hate seeing that.
Yeah,
it's like, I got to open them all off. Yeah,
I know.
So, yeah.
Is it that it's easy? It had to have been easier at the time to say, I'm going to do 3 a week when it's just, it's you, or it was like maybe a smaller scale of production?
I'll say it was easier then. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it was way easier back then.
But now it's like,
yeah.
But so what, why continue the 3? Could you change it?
We could. I think it's still that, and me and my husband, we go back and forth with this all the time, because a lot of creators say, wait, you just post once a week and make the video longer. But I've been posting Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. That's my posting days. That's what my fan base know, that I post every Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. They like watching every Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. And if I don't, one time I have missed a posting date. In the comment section,
they go nuts.
Where are the videos? Kinigra, you didn't post today. Okay, you guys understand. You guys like the Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, so I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah, it's like ingrained in their daily routine.
Yeah.
And they're probably, you're trying to feel, like, I like to watch this while I have lunch or whatever.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. It's interesting to think of it like we're similar age. So we grew up watching TV, consuming it on like a serial level where, like on Thursday nights, this show is going to be on or whatever. And you're providing them that, but in this freemium space where they can just choose to watch it, but then also interact. And then as you've grown and you start incorporating your family, it's like you're spotlighting these young superstars that you're like finding from home.
Right.
Because you're not really, is it everyone from like Alabama right now, basically?
Yeah. Everyone.
Which is so funny, because it's like, there's the whole United States and you're just literally sticking, like it's all around home.
Yep.
Is there a reason for that? Is it just because it's out of convenience and that's where you're at?
Well, it started, honestly, because once I saw the opportunity with YouTube, I needed all of my family to understand this opportunity. Because it's not like it wasn't like back home, no one was really, my sister, she worked at Subway all her life, and so her check isn't that big. She's always was on like government assistance and that kind of stuff. So it's like, hey, my niece is super freaking talented and she loves doing this. You need to start creating a channel because you really have the opportunity to where you don't have to do that. You get to be with your family, spend time with them. And she listened, and everyone listened. My brother-in-law, my step baby, everybody, and everyone's creators. And so it gave them, all of us, opportunities to be able to create content, to monetize that content, and become successful creators.
It's so crazy because it's like, think about how many times people say that to someone. You should make that thing that you're really good at, but talk about it on TikTok or talk about it on YouTube or talk about whatever.
You should.
And people just sleep on it.
Yeah.
It's crazy that it's what I say, the intuition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're developing like a historical run for your family. Like how does that feel for you? Like when you see them actually following through and then the reward comes later where they may not have to have a traditional job and they get to do this untraditional job, but also have like an expression, a way to express themselves.
It's rewarding because it's like I said, my sister, she has a 2-story home with stairs. Never have they had that before. And then you also have the other part you have the burden part too, where you feel like, well, I feel that I have to make this work because I convinced everyone to do this. And if it fails, then they're looking at me like, what do we do now? And so that's one of the biggest drives too. It's like, I can't fail. This has to work. This has to grow.
That's a crazy stressor. Yeah. So then how do you, in the midst of all this and having that type of pressure that you put on yourself, but now you have indirectly like created a bunch of other people's pressure that's getting put onto you, even if they're not being like, you got to keep going. Yeah. How are you finding a balance in your life? Like, I mean, you got a kid, married, you guys are successful with the opportunity to do whatever you want. Yeah. We're at Sundance. Hopefully you get to hang out a little bit, but like you're here working, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like how do you find balance in your life?
That's a good question. Right now I would say there isn't balance. It's like sacrificing for everyone else a little bit. Now, I mean, we get to do certain things, like we're going to take more trips this year, but I love what I do. So it's like, even when I'm on set and I'm filming, even when I'm here, when I'm talking to people, it's not like it's just full work because it's still fun. And and a lot of times though, even with my husband, because we work together, a lot of times I'm like talking about work. And he has to go, Kinigra, let's watch a movie. And I'm like, you want to talk? Can we talk about this really quick though? Yeah. He's like, no, that's right. So I have to come down and like, okay, let me just stop and watch a movie. And like, even like on this trip here, my kids, they're with me, but like Sunday, we don't have anything. We're going to go and do the funicular and let her go up that little thing. And then, snow. She didn't get to see snow. She get to play in snow. So they were with us when we went to Mexico for the creator event, and they're, walking in the ocean. And so we're still creating those memories at the same time as working.
So it's like you have a bit of a rock, like he's sitting off camera, by the way, for anyone who's listening or watching, but to be able to hold you down a little bit because it is, I agree. I'm obsessed with what I do. I love what I do. I've never considered it work. I get to hang out with my best friends. I make new best friends damn near every time we do a job. So it's like something that you don't ever want to turn off. And everyone's always like, how do you deal with, because it's like burnout, that whole thing. And when we watched your channel, because we were all on like a Zoom, and we found your channel and we're looking at it and we're like, yo, 3 episodes a week is insane. Yeah. That's insane. It's not like, again, it's not like, don't want to call like vlogging or whatever, like lower level, but like it is a bit easier to just be like, I'm here doing this. Sure. Now I'm doing this. Yeah. Here's what my friend said. Everyone laughed. Haha. But like, this is like scripting, you're literally writing, developing, casting, doing all the things that you do. And it is tough to, I don't know. Like, I think it's like inevitable. Like I felt it with the podcast when we were doing this. At a certain point, I hit this like burnout phase where I'm like, man, we're doing 2 episodes a week of me just talking. Yeah. But that still got me. You know what I mean? Plus doing more.
I can say I feel that burnout sometimes, but I'm lucky to have my husband because he's like if you could duplicate yourself, who would that be? That would be him. Yeah. And so like if I do get burnout, he's going to take over. Yeah. Because we do the same thing. If something happened to me today or tomorrow, it wouldn't stop because he could do it. But he would need to find another me, because when he burns out too, I'm not. Like, it's good that the good thing is it's rare that me and him burn out together.
Yeah.
Because if I'm burning out, he picks up the slack.
Right.
If he's burning out, I pick up the slack.
Yeah.
So, and then when we're not burned out, it's like going super good because we're good.
Just
so,
hammering.
Yeah, we're hammering.
That's a cool
yeah.
ping pong effect.
Yeah.
Is it?
Right.
And for both of you, was this, for him, you can speak for him.
Yeah.
Was this part of, what was his creative journey? Like, how did he, because it sounds like you guys just, through love, forcefully got him into it.
I did.
But
actually,
then I know he's like hammers. You've talked about him being like on the business side, things like that. Like, what's his background into?
So he ran a club for like 11 years. And so that was mainly like what he did. And he's very smart. He's really intelligent. No one would know it because he doesn't look like it, but he's really like a nerd. Like he loves like the Geographic Channel. Like, you're gonna see him. He can tell you everything about a whale. Like, he knows everything about him. But anyway, but he's also really like businessy, and he's very chill. And anyway, but so I remember when I first heard him, I was doing YouTube. I was in LA. He was in Birmingham, and you know, like, he'll give me some ideas and I'll go, okay, I'll film that. And then some of it, he was like, he'll know like some of the ideas came from like us, and I would put it in there. But like, I remember the first video I asked him to be in, like act in, and he's like, I'm not acting. I'm too cool. I'm not acting. But then when he finally got in the video, he's like looking at every freaking shot and seeing. And then from there, he saw like the first check too. He's like, oh, yeah, we could do this.
He got hooked.
He started writing.
Was he still working at the club at the time?
He was, yeah.
So at a certain point, he jumped ship too.
Yeah, he jumped the club. Yeah, he started working at the club. And so, yeah, and he writes, he edit. Well, no, the only thing he cannot do is edit. Because, like, even with me and him, we kind of like, we work well together, but we don't. Like, I cannot be on his set if he's directing.
Oh, you guys just
and
like...
he cannot be on mine if I'm directing. We clash.
Two different styles.
Right. And I had to learn, like, I remember when I first would see him directing, because I'm a list person. I need my iPad. Okay, I need this shot. Let me write this insert, like, to check off things. He don't have nothing. And I'm like, how are you keeping up with this? I know you're going to forget this shot. Or he'll do an angle and then he won't get like an insert. I'm like, what? Anyway, I had to learn though, like when he posts a video and it performs, it's like, well, they like that too.
Yeah.
I guess they like yours too.
He's over there grinning. I'm sorry we didn't have a third mic for you, bro. So you defend yourself.
I guess they like yours too. So, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I don't know if he knew. I think he's always been kind of like really creative, because he had to be really creative to like get people to keep coming back to the club. So he kind of implement that too in YouTube. So it's like, hey, we have to do certain things, certain special things to make sure that it's still engaging.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and you guys grew up at a pinnacle time, like your youth together too.
Yeah.
You guys came together in a pinnacle time of like aging, right? Like you're going through certain things that then you both have experienced to a bit. So you guys know similar paths, what you guys have been through, and then finding it similar interests to then pull from that, you know what I mean? Or try to like paint that picture for people. Yeah. Which is unique.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Is it you know, from him, like, do you guys like to hand that off from like him managing and running a whole club? It's like the management skill set. Is that something that you also like to do, or is it like you love editing and?
I don't love editing.
I thought you said
no. I said he can't edit, but I don't love editing. No, I handed that one off. Okay, that's the no. But because he can't edit because I can't teach him. So yeah, he doesn't like the way I teach. So that's why he can't edit. Anyway, but no, I don't love editing. But no, he is. I like for him to handle like the business side, to talk with the people. Oh yeah, because he's more. I'm kind of like a people pleaser-ish. So, like, it's hard for me to say no, but he can. Right. He can very well say no. I mean, but he know how to do it in a way it's not no. It makes sense. Like, well, let me see. Tell me if this makes sense to you. If da-da-da-da-da, and the person they don't have anything that they could say back to rebut it. Right, so he's very good with, like,
shooting them down softly.
And making it, like, and closing good deals. Yeah. So, yeah. That's cool. He's that. That's
a special, you guys have a special team right there. And family, obviously. It sounds cool that you've been able to pull in at all angles and getting everyone involved. So I'm curious, like when it comes to production, because we all were like, how?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've also heard you talk about like your writing process could be a couple hours.
Yeah, it could be literally, sometimes I'll give you the fastest video that we filmed. We filmed a video and got it out in, I think 2 days. I'll say 2 days turnaround time for filming, editing, and posting. So
how long was that?
So we filmed.
Or how long was the total runtime of the video?
Total runtime of the video, probably like 25 minutes.
Okay, but a 25-minute scripted piece of content. Yeah.
2 days.
Okay. Psychos.
So we filmed it. So that took maybe like 8 hours to film it, and then the editing took the next day.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I wanted to get it out in the same day, I really could.
But you guys don't. Do you batch? Do you do batching?
Yeah. So we did at first. So how we did batching was we were like a month or two ahead, and we had all this content, and we start posting it that we thought that was gonna perform on the channel, and it was like, oh God, they hate this content. Now all we have is this content left. It was Halloween. It was during Halloween. I was like, we had all these Halloween videos that. But
you're saying live reactions of them, like what do you like? How are you?
How do I know that they don't like it?
Yeah, like what were you?
Because a lot of the comments are, we're too scared. This scared us. This
oh, that's
can you
adorable.
yeah, so it's like they don't like the scary stuff, even though this wasn't really scary.
And you're
comedy.
like, wait till Thursday because this is gonna get even scarier. Exactly. You're like, we can't change that.
Yeah, so now we try to just be like 2 weeks ahead. So as long as we're like 2 weeks ahead, we're good. So that we can pivot if we need to.
Have you done that? Have you had to pivot because of you do?
Yeah, we pivot.
And
so
are you
like
scrapping?
Yeah. So no, we're still gonna
you
post
keep
it.
that.
We're gonna keep it, but we're like, okay, we're not doing this series no more. It didn't perform, and we didn't really love it. There are some series that we love, and only like a part of the audience love.
Right.
And we're posted. We're still gonna like keep doing that, even if it doesn't perform, because it's like that's the art. We like it. And then we have some that we will post, and then they love it, and then it becomes a series. So we kind of pivot based off, like, some of it is based off what our audience like, and then some of it is like, oh, I love this. Like, we posted this one that we did know that it was like, I'm pretty sure it's gonna end up performing. It's called like Bottom 3.
Okay.
And basically, you have to, with YouTube, you still have to put YouTube elements, but if I wasn't gonna post this on YouTube, it definitely wouldn't have had Squid Game elements in it.
Right.
But they have on these Squid Game outfits, but it's like about these kids. You only go to school one time out the year, and you go to school one time out the year, and you have to take a test. So you have to do your own studying. If you fail the test and you're in the bottom 3 out of your district or your class, then you have to go and play these games. And so basically, it's to bring back order and make you respect like education and take things serious. Anyway, I'm this crazy teacher or whatever. I'm like super crazy. And
I was as you were doing that.
Yeah, like I'm like
pick your number and do whatever.
This very anyway, like pick a number and have a seat. Like that kind of thing. And it's like everybody's watching it. Anyway, we knew that was going to be one of the ones that they loved. And so and even if they didn't love it, we still would do it. Because
but why did you know? Just because you knew that was like pulling from other things that you've done in the past and kind of, or because it was like Squid Games themed and it's just relevant to the season?
No, because I like it.
Yeah, because you like it.
Now, yeah, because I loved it, and also like the actors, like our friend, we all love doing it and we love playing it too.
Yeah.
So that's usually when we can get the best feel, when everyone really loves. It's rare that we will find one that they don't love, and sometimes we know that we love it and they wouldn't. Like this one we did, it was called it was like about this brother who he pranked his brother. It was crazy. You didn't know it was a prank until the very end. We knew that they wasn't gonna like that. Our audience probably wasn't gonna like it, but all the actors and us, we loved that freaking video.
Yeah.
But it was slow because you had to. It was kind of like very slow. It wasn't like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Hit you like action, action, and another. It was really slow. You had to really watch it to the end for the action to kind of go. To have that moment, and we loved it, but we knew our audience wouldn't, if that makes sense.
Which is cool because it's like in traditional television, like before shows even drop, they're taking all these random people into rooms and testing, A/B testing, like, do they like this style of an edit or do they like this or whatever? You're like doing it in real time with your audience.
Yeah.
Without fear of
like,
what, okay, maybe they won't watch that video, or maybe they'll come back to the next one. And is it stressful? Like when you see, like, cause is it sometimes you're seeing like a lower amount of views on an episode and you're like, okay, that's a result. But like how, that doesn't make sense. Like how does it make sense to you if it's lower views, that means that they're not watching it yet? Like maybe they didn't watch it this week, or maybe they didn't watch the episode.
Or it could just be the thumbnail and the title sucks.
Right.
And that's the thing. The thumbnail and the title just isn't good, because I've had that where it was like, man, this video is really good. I'm surprised it didn't perform better. And then we changed the thumbnail.
Goes crazy.
Up. Yeah.
So you guys do that a lot where you're testing?
Yeah. So we do A/B testing on thumbnails and titling. I'm not going to say I'm the best person to do titles. It's really hard on YouTube to come up with a thumbnail that really kind of works.
Right.
Because it's not that many scripted channels on YouTube. But the best thumbnail is to be able to show the most emotion. And that has been a struggle. I will say, like, that is our biggest struggle, is coming up with a thumbnail. Because I hate the YouTube thumbnails.
Yeah.
I hate them. Especially on, like, I hate them for scripted content.
Sure.
Like, I don't want a girl like, exactly.
Yeah.
When it's like about love. It's about them together. But you still have to kind of compromise that so that they want to click on it. And then they watch, oh, wait, I'm watching a movie. That's crazy.
So who's doing the thumbnails?
I have this guy. He's from Fiverr. Like, I've never met him. Yeah, he's from Fiverr. And, yeah,
you just send it. So what are you sending? Like your goals, or in a couple screen grabs? And
yep. Well, not screen grabs. Well, it is screen grabs basically, but we take it in the beginning. So sometimes I'll have an idea of like where I could get a thumbnail. Like I may find it from a movie, I may find it from another YouTuber, and I'm like, oh wait, I could probably do something similar about this video. And then I give him the inspiration. And then I send him that picture that I took in the beginning.
So that's part of like your shot list. Like, I need to take this photo on set.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
That's cool.
That's the first thing. If we don't have a thumbnail, which we have done it several times, like not get a thumbnail and then have to take screen grabs from the video. Yeah. That doesn't really work well on YouTube at all. No.
So our YouTube goes as far as us posting full episodes, which usually doesn't work. Letting people watch long conversations is challenging.
Yeah.
Versus making short form content. But like, I love watching YouTubers that break off and kind of dive deeper into like the ideas of theory on it. So do you study things like I know Mr. Beast was like an advocate about putting out everything he's ever learned and like trying to showcase that stuff. So trying to change and do thumbnails and like, I just watched something else. I can't remember what channel, Dude Perfect or whatever, those guys that always like throw basketballs. They're like have like a full-time person that's making like hundreds and like mock-ups and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's necessary, or does that slow your process down? Not just thumbnails.
I'll say that the majority of the creators, even that I've talked to, they create the thumbnail first. They won't even shoot a video before us. And ours is different. We come up with the concept first. If we love the concept, even if I don't have a thumbnail for it, I'm going to film it because I like the concept. Right. I like the story of it. It's one guy's name is Jay Alto. He's like thumbnail genius, right? And we were talking to him about like scripted content thumbnails, and he just said he hasn't cracked it yet. He really don't know. That is the hard part. I'm not gonna say you really need. I don't feel like you need 100 or 1,000 different type of thumbnails. I think you just need one that tells the story the best. Yeah. And maybe you should have a person that's dedicated to doing that. But it's so new. What person can say, oh, yeah. I have experience in creating these thumbnails. It's just going to work. Right. So, yeah, it's not that many people.
I will say your guys' channel is like as soon as you click a video, like you're like, what is this channel? Then you click it and you're like, oh, okay, this is like a show. And then the thumbnails correlate to that. Like I think you guys have done a good job at being able to like describe and then like go into serial content, which I want to go back. When did you decide, like, because you said we might post something and then that makes us be like, oh, this could be like a series. What was the first series that you did, and what was it? Were people saying like, oh, I want more? Yeah.
The first one would be, I'll say it started with the adult content. It was this one, I was this crazy girl. Anyway, it was, If You Look at My Man. So I would be this woman. If somebody was moving into our apartment complex, I would go to their door and knock on it and give them my rules. hey, let me let you know. Show him a picture of my man. If you see him, don't look at him. Don't talk to him. All of that. Anyway, I don't know. It just went really well. And so that became a series on YouTube. So every time I would just go to different doors. And so that's how I learned kind of that serial content actually performs. And then even when we switched over to like family content, we had this one, The Bad Babysitter, where I was like this not so good bad babysitter, but these kids who are really smart would like always outsmart me.
Right.
And so that became a really good series. Don't Let No One in My House. That's like traditional. Your mom tell you when I leave, don't let anyone in my house. And something always crazy happened if they let someone in the house.
Yeah.
And so those became like very like episodic. And then I'll say, last year we started playing with just long videos that were just like one-offs. Because at first we were kind of like always doing some type of series, and then we started playing with like one-offs.
So it's like your version of a film?
It's almost exactly. So
right.
it'll be like, it may be like around 36 minutes or something like that. Or either it'll be two parts. One is 20 and the other one is 23, but we filmed it all together.
Yeah.
It could have been just one.
Yeah.
But it's like a limited series. And then those performed well too. So we just, honestly, our strategy is we create what we really just
as you're going.
Yeah, and as we're going.
But if you're like, okay, like for the vampire one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you talked about that.
I love vampire.
So if you come up with the series of that and you make the first one and you realize like, oh, this is pretty dope. We should keep this going. Mm-hmm. Are you starting to have like meetings and content strategy on like, what is the story? How does the story progress? Like, are you already thinking of episode 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Or are you just like, what's the next one? And then you do that. And then after a beat, you think about 3.
It would be so nice if we said, here's episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's go film it. Because if we had that, then we would probably go ahead and film the entire series that week.
In one take. Yeah.
And we would be done. We'll have no.
Yeah.
So usually though, we would come up with a really good concept and then film it and post it. And then, it did perform. Let's come up with the second one. And we sit there. Most of the time it's me and my husband, like, both like passing off ideas to each other. And then lately we've been like having like writing rooms with our family. We all sit down and we're like, what do we think about this concept? And then everyone kind of like bounce ideas and then we write it and we film it.
Yeah.
So we don't know. It's rare that we have episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Right.
So, no.
Like you're not thinking like we know how the season ends or the series would end.
Yeah, because sometimes you could post something and it's like, I didn't like it. It's like you think that is something that you would like, and then you see it put together, and it's like, that didn't come out how I thought it was going to come out. And so imagine if you wrote already 3 episodes for it.
But you're still going to release that, even if you
I'm
feel
still going to release it.
Which is interesting because that takes a lot of vulnerability.
Yeah, because I may not like it, but my audience may like it.
Yeah.
And most of the time they do. Like, so I'm very, like, I love, like, if continuity is messed up, if the lighting, if I didn't like the lighting, if I didn't like the scoring, I know that I am more of a perfectionist than my audience is.
Right.
So they're not looking at, oh, that scoring wasn't good or that lighting is bad. Because it's some videos where I'm like, how did this perform? I was sick. I didn't give like my best, and it was like probably a #1 video. So what I've learned with content is just because you don't like it, someone else probably does.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
How do you ever do activations where you're connecting with your audience in real life?
When we premiere. Like,
what do you mean?
So like you can premiere a video on YouTube, and so I'm in the chat.
But you're talking with them. But like you guys haven't done like physical, like, oh, we're all, because now you have like this entourage of people that everyone's connected to as a fan base, right? So, I don't know, YouTubers would always do like a tour or a pop-up somewhere or do some stuff like that.
That's what we're working on now. So we're actually gonna try to film like our own movie and then put it in the theaters, get them to come out.
That's sick.
And then put it on YouTube though. Like they get to premiere it and come to and probably like go to some of the theaters. We want to do that this summer, and this summer also we talked about doing some like schools. I did try doing some small touring like to different local schools in Birmingham, but I would love to go to
they would go nuts.
Yeah, I would love to like just go to different schools and talk to them, because I'm really about like getting parents, especially in the South, to see that like, hey, content creation is a career.
You're just trying to get people jobs. You're like, try this.
You need to, like, if your kid can play that game and he has, do not say get off that game.
Facts.
Just like you would tell your child, hey, you need to go in there and study and do your work. If your child is trying to be a content creator, you need to go, hey, did you try to edit that video today?
Right.
All right, okay now.
Yeah.
You say you're gonna try to post. Did you post?
Yeah.
Like that. Like, because if someone had that kind of support system, it'll be so many little Kai Sinets out here.
Oh yeah, for
so
sure.
many of them.
Right.
If they just had the support. And I think because content creation is so new, and the little kids, the younger generation understands it, but the older generation, they really don't. Not yet.
Even though you feel like at this point it's been like so spotlit.
Yeah.
It's like, what else do you need to see? There's mansions. There's,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? They're flying jets and doing all this stuff that comes
Right.
with an NFL player would get.
Yeah.
But now a gamer gets that, which
Yeah.
is crazy to see it. But it's funny that it's like you're running this whole operation, yet you still are trying to mentor,
Yeah.
and which could be a cool avenue that you guys,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like you talked about one. I don't know if you want to say the podcast thing. We can cut that out if you don't want people.
Oh,
to
no,
know
it's
that.
cool. Yeah,
but like,
you could.
if you were to do a podcast, but at the same time, like finding and being able to mentor people that maybe they're not on your channel, but it seems like you're really hungry and passionate about pushing that forward.
Yeah, I think that especially if everyone needs just someone to support. And if you have it in you and you just sometimes all you need is just someone to confirm that this is doable.
Right.
Right. And so if I can be that person to confirm, hey, this is doable.
Yeah.
You have talent. You should definitely go out there and do it. You have to be consistent. It's not easy. So don't think this is going to be easy. It's going to be hard, actually. But just do it and try it, because you don't have regrets with trying. You have regrets when you don't try something.
Shots. I love that, and I think seeing you put your foot forward, and I think demoing your ideas to the world, whether maybe you're like, it's not the best one, but whatever, you're still gonna put it out. You're like, your growth is happening, right? Like I know at a certain point you started talking about like you would shoot it, but then you wanted to find something that matched cinema. Like you were trying to find a cinematic look. So you're trying to, when you walked in here, you saw our lights. You're like, we got all these, because you're trying to play with that. And you guys have homes or what? You bought houses, like content houses or something?
Yeah, we call them skit houses, but I need to change it to like studio houses. Yeah, we have, we bought several properties to just film in. So we pre-lit, and that's the only place that we film. We allow like all the actors to go and create content in those spaces too.
Cool.
So yeah.
Is that, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So you're saying the houses, because now I still want to, before we wrap this up, I want to like learn the process for you. Cool. So for the houses, you're pre-lighting the space so that you could just walk in and be like, I want to do something in the kitchen. Let's go into the kitchen and shoot. And we know we have it already like gridded out and it's all good. So how did you bring in a team to like do that specifically? What was the process with the houses? Because how new is that?
So we started the houses last year. Yeah. We started the houses last year.
Yeah.
And then we started pre-lighting them like August of last year. That's when we started just going in. We bought a couple of Amarans and Nova, all that. We just start like those little, I don't know the names either. Little pole thing. We got some stairs, the magnet, all that, just to have them like easily to prop up. We started that last year.
That's
then,
cool.
Well, our biggest project is just once we find the property, where we were close to finding this. We're close to getting this one property, but it didn't happen. Like we're gonna build a full running studio, like
a stage.
80 acres of land. It's gonna be. We want little houses. We want a church. We want a hospital. Everything that we can just film all at one place.
Which for people who don't understand, like in LA, it's so common to be able to like, if you wanted to shoot if you want to do a nurse scene, you go get like a fake hospital room and rent it for the day, but you don't have that out there. So you're just building it.
Yep.
That's a boss move.
Yeah.
So is it like the houses that you're finding, it's like for a specific style? Is there like is it just because you're like, oh, these rooms would create a perfect environment for our types of videos?
It started, the main property that we used to film, it was a property that had 2 houses on it. And so we were like, oh, this is perfect, because if we want to run 2 sets, we can. Someone in this house, the other person in this house. And then it has like so much land on it, like in the woods, if we want to do our vampire scenes there.
Yeah.
And also if we want to have like a love story where these 2 kids grew up next to each other, we can see the houses where they come outside. So that was the reason why we ended up getting that.
That's cool.
that property. And then the other properties were just to have to give it, because sometimes when you see the same area in every video, it becomes like it doesn't give that video a different feel.
Yeah.
So the more spaces we begin to use, it gives it its own feel.
And are you finding like art directors, people that are able to come and modify? Like, are you thinking of, is that a direction you're going to? Because this is all funny. Yeah. It's like you are dabbling so deep into like traditional, but for you, like you're finding the way to spin it to be YouTube-y. You know what I mean? Like, you're doing all these things that most people wouldn't have budgets for.
Right.
And if you have budgets, you're like being very smart and being like, okay, cool. We could go rent a space, or we could just get the space and we could just build it custom however we need for the thing.
Right. I think...
I bet it's hard also to find those like traditional roles in places like that.
Because the thing is, with us, you have to know how to do more than one role. Like, I don't need a makeup artist just there. If you're a makeup artist, can you do makeup and can you run the sound?
Yeah.
Do you know how to do both? Because I need someone who can multitask. No, but like we actually trained our family to direct. So like we show them how to direct, and everyone, what's crazy is you notice that everybody tells a story so different. And at first, like I said, that was really hard for me to do, to let someone else like, you go direct this.
Yeah.
And so we haven't hired anyone that's from traditional. We just trained our family on how to do it.
It's funny when you say train. You're like you guys just train. You're like, okay, this is what we're like. Yeah, like people that don't do it at all, you're taking them from 0 to 100.
Yeah, 0 to 100. Yeah. Yeah. Our lead camera guy, he never is Reggie's first cousin, never held a camera a day in his life. And now he can run a set without us being there. Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Is it because you're just trying to keep in the family? Is it because do people start, as you're growing the channel, they're maybe finding inspiration? They want to be like, if he wasn't operating a camera ever, I don't know what he was doing prior to that, but like now he's your camera operator. What did he find? Like, I want to get involved somehow, some way.
Everyone always, I'll say within our family, everyone wants, it's like, hey, just, even if I'm just a runner, let me run. And it's like, okay, well, let's give you a skill. And so everyone that's there came to us because they wanted to do something. And we just said, okay, the investment will be to show you guys how to do it. Yeah. Because you trust your family. Like, I know my family. I trust them.
Right.
Versus sometimes when we bring outside people in, you question motives. You question, like, we've had camera equipment get stolen. So, you know, it's easier with family, but then you know you have the other hard part. Personal and business does this.
Yeah, of course.
So you gotta have that conversation about, well, I don't like how you said, you know, whatever. Anyway, but but still better to me. I like.
No, I get that, and I think it makes it very special when it's that way.
Yeah.
From your pre-production, if you're breaking it down to categories, your pre-production, the writing process, like sounds like you and your husband, and now bringing in people and having a writer's room to an extent. When you're going into a production, you're like, okay, cool, we wrote this idea. We know we need these certain setups. Is it usually contained to like those environments that you're talking about, like having your land, things like that? Or you guys been like, oh, can we go rent out the local whatever?
Sometimes
parlor?
we rent out spaces. Yeah. So like, for example, this one video we want to do, we're trying to do, it's going to be called Slide. We're trying to, it's like going to be like Dodge Chargers. Like, it's like that slide like community.
Drifting?
Is that drifting? That's what it's called?
Like
when they're sliding?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Drifting.
Sliding?
Yeah, sliding. Yeah. So it's going to be almost like Fast and the Furious type
okay.
thing, but it's this track that let them, because in Alabama it's a felony to do that. So unless you're on private property. And so we're trying to get that space. We rent out like schools. We go to like the local grocery store and use their property where they let us film there. So
when you're doing that, like who's producing that? Like normally you're like, the director's like, oh, I want to shoot in a school and this and that, blah, blah, blah. You guys are wearing multiple hats. So are you the ones organizing?
I'm the one, I'm going
to
the
school.
All. Yeah. Hey, can we shoot here? If so, like, what's the fee? If I could pay, they'd be like, oh yeah, we charge this. Okay, thank you. And then we pay. Yeah.
So to get in, when you go into production, then you have like your teams that you're relying on. How much micromanagement are you doing when it comes to that side? Or when you're saying like you've trained the team, you have a sound op and you whatever, do they know what you're looking for at this point? Like where
at this point they do.
Yeah. So it took some time, obviously, but
yeah, at this point they do. I feel like everyone knows what our goals are and what our values are, and then they see how hard we work.
Right.
And so everyone is just trying to like match our energy and learn as quick as possible.
Yeah.
And they don't want to mess up.
Right.
So they're like, I don't want to mess up. I don't want to be the one to mess up this video, especially if it's a video that everyone loves. So like even say for sound, right? If they know, especially this is a video that everybody like, oh, that scene. He's like, hey, hold on. Her mic
move
your hair, girl.
Yeah.
You're scrubbing the
Smart.
mic too much. And so, yeah. But I think everyone care about what we are producing.
And when it comes to like scaling this, right? Like as you're scaling it, is there, if it comes in, we need more lights, we need more camera tricks, we want more, cinema tools that we can use to like make it feel like this movie scene I've seen or whatever. Does that get in the way? Because like, for instance, this is Matt, who's my DP on almost all my projects. When we need to shoot a scene, he's got to move this light 2 inches, and we got to do this. It takes time, right? It always takes time, and I've always seen that in my time in LA and on projects. Where if you're going in and you're saying like your audience might not care if that happens, like do you value being like, all right, let's make that good enough, but I need to move quick because I need like time is more important to me.
Time is more important.
Yeah.
And so if, say for example, if it's just gonna make a little difference, no.
Not worth it.
Let's go. It's not worth it. Like, and we have actually experience with that. We had a cinematographer come. I'm not gonna lie, he's really good and he could light beautifully. And it's like, gosh, that looked good. But guess what? It just took us 6 hours before we able to even start filming. That is a no. Put the camera up. I'll hold this there if I need to. It looks good on this camera. I promise you they're going to love it. Yeah, we're not spending that much time to go in there. Now, maybe when we do something that's like, hey, this has to, so we can show, because I could show you. I could do it. I could make it be efficient. But who are my audience? My audience really don't care. Yeah. It's like, so it's like, no, we're not spending an extra 3 hours just to make the eye twinkle. Sometimes, they put the light in there so that the eye have the little twinkle thing, and then they put the little whiteboard. Yeah, no.
Just time. And I get it too, because I always give this example. I think that's a good point, because it does, at the end of the day, the views are right there, right? So with or without the twinkle, the views are right there. And I, like my first time experiencing that, we were doing it, not my first time, but like a time I always reflect on was like, we were doing a documentary, it was with Mary J. Blige, and we're in the studio, and I was like the second camera, our DP had like this really ill rig, and there was so many times where something happened spontaneously, and I like had to pick up a small camera, that's not the cinematic camera, it wasn't the main camera, it was like a maybe we'll use it thing, but then those ended up making the cut because we're telling a story, right? And like your whole goal is, how can I tell a story? Yep. How fast can I tell a story is your personal goal. Yeah. Because the audience, they might not know if it took you 3 weeks to shoot it or two days, right? Nope. Which is just, it's interesting. But like, when you think like what happens if, and I'm sure you get asked this question, you think about it all the time, or maybe it's even happened to you, like a Netflix, Amazon, whoever comes knocking on your door and be like, we want to do 12 episodes of vampires. And we're going to take 3 months to make it, and we're going to give you absurd amounts of money to like get it done. Do you change this? Do you experiment that way? Or do you let them burn their money for you to try and be like, do I like that?
Yeah. Well, I would say this. I know if we have a project that we could spend more time on it, of course we'll make it. Yeah. Because sometimes it is we can make it way more cinematic because we have the time for that project. But as far as with YouTube, it's, post. Go.
Or would you switch? Do you ever think about what if it's one episode a week where now you take the time, but you'll never give that up? I'm
going to post Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Yeah. I don't know why. And I don't know why it's this thing. Even with my husband, we feel like it's I don't know. I think that's what made me
it's a really cool challenge.
Consistent. Yeah. And I think if I take that away, maybe I may slack in some other, because that would free up a lot of time, but it would be like, okay, well, what would the time free up for me to do? If it would free up for me to do maybe another 2 episodes somewhere else, maybe, right. But I like that the actors get a chance to try so many different roles. And this, I give some of the actors, because they really do have a passion for acting. I tell them that they have no idea how much experience they're getting. Like they can
Crash
play,
course.
they can play whatever role. Like seriously, comedy, drama, it doesn't matter. They can play it because they're constantly able to. They know how to improv. Sometimes we'll go in, no script. We improv the entire thing. And some of that be some of the like best videos that we've done.
They're developing their palette.
Yep.
All of you are, because it's like every department's developing it as they go because of the speed and the time, that the pressure that's being added on there. Yeah. That's interesting. Is it when it comes to the post side, because we haven't talked about it, I know you're saying like you're not editing, you have editors.
Yes.
So can you talk about the post process? Because if you're saying like the fastest video you ever did was literally 2 days, so someone's waiting for you to finish shooting, or they're waiting, and you just go straight into it. So what's the typical post process, and how are you guys doing that? Okay,
so after we get off set, I go home and I upload the footage to our server, and our editors, they have a server as well. So as soon as I upload it, it's already downloading to their server.
Sure.
And so they're getting the footage, and so then we don't slate. We use which we're going to probably start not slating, but we're going to either time code or something eventually, because we run with 2 cams. But anyway, right now we use pluralize.
Right.
And it just syncs the footage for us faster. And so then they do an assembly, they send the assembly, but they're still editing. We are in frame, we're giving the notes. They're seeing the notes in real time and they're changing it. So by V2 or V3, we have the finished video.
So you never sit in on the edit sessions? Do you sit? Are they local to you, or where you're doing the server stuff because they're somewhere else?
They're somewhere else. Yeah, none of the editors are local.
How did you find your editors?
Actually, one of them I've known because when we first started filming, when I was in LA, one of the guys who used to film for us actually trained his editor. He was with him all the time. Right. He actually was an animator, and he just wrote me like, "Hey, Kinigra, I see you still doing videos. I actually know how to edit better now." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, come on." Then this other guy, he emailed me from seeing I wrote something I went to a Vid Summit. It's like a creator thing. I was like, "Hey, I'm looking for editors," and he was like, "Hey, I can edit." And he sent me his reel and was like, "Whoa, this is really good." But the first edit he did was like horrible. It was like, what? And so I remember telling him, I was like, "Well, I'm going to give it to my other editor and we'll just train a little bit more." And he was like, "I promise you, the second edit," well, it's probably by this time, it was probably like the 4th edit. He was like, "The 4th, you don't have to give it to another editor. Watch what the 4th edit is." And I was like, "Oh, whoa." It was like I think it was our vampires episode actually. And it was like, well, this was a really good edit. And so he learned our style basically. So he knew how, he just had to learn what our style was. And so he learned pretty quickly, and so now he has his own team of editors.
What do you value when it comes to editing? And I'm purposely leaning into this more because I came with Adobe. And I don't know if you guys are using Premiere.
Yes, that's the only one. I'm a Premiere Pro. Yeah? That's it. Yeah. So what I value, let's see. Because
the edit's got to be in your head.
Yeah.
As you're obviously you're seeing it as you're shooting.
Yep.
But like you said, like that editor is taking a couple stabs at it because they're trying to learn your language, right? So yeah, like when you're working with these people and giving notes, like what's the thing you value the most when it comes to editing?
What I value the most? Flow. So if they have a really good assembly, I think it starts with that first. Like you need a really good assembly and a good structure to be able to cut up something. Like, so I think that's the first thing, is organizing the footage in a way that if I say, "Hey, you should probably keep this shot because it's moving. I like that moving shot. Go to that." You'll be able to find that because you have a really good assembly and it's cut up by scene. Like even when I make my assemblies, because even sometimes I have to step in, it's so organized. Scene 1 is color coded. Scene 2 is color coded. Everything is labeled. I love like in Adobe, like you go in and you label. I label everything. I take an adjustment layer and I put that as scene 1. I put in notes, anything that they need to know. I put in like if it's going to be some emotion here. I put this is an improv section. It should go here. So I think the structure and the organizing is the most important. And then after that, now it's the storytelling. each scene, what are you trying to discover? Is it emotion? Is it funny? Are you trying to capture that? So then the scoring has to capture that. And so it's being able to make sure that you're not overdoing it, or that it doesn't make... The worst thing that you can do is have a video that is bad. It'll make the editing horrible if the scoring is horrible.
Right. And is that the editors doing that? The scoring?
They're doing
music,
everything. Yeah. And then we mostly use a LUT for color grading.
But they just do that in Premiere?
Yeah, do it in Premiere.
So then are you having to be that organized? Are you ever going back into projects do you guys ever like call back on footage that like, because having it be so organized is so key for anytime you're gonna have to go back to it.
Yep.
Do you
Yeah,
have
so
to
they have
footage?
to. Yeah, so I actually have every video, all the footage, all the edits, that every video that I've ever filmed. So I keep it. And so even if it's just a training thing, so they upload the Premiere file, they upload all the music, and then we go in and we make sure that it all syncs well. And then I can go in and even move things around if I need to as well.
Yeah, so you'll actually go in sometimes to do final touches.
Yeah, just because that's if I can't communicate. But most of the time, frame.io works the best for us. It's the biggest community. I just watch it, and if they can't understand it, because sometimes they can't, I don't know what you're talking about, Kinigra, and I'm like, it's okay, I'll go do it.
Yeah.
And then they upload all the footage, and I just go in and I move where I need it to.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's funny how you literally just stumbled into this, and now you're building.
I know,
this,
that's what's crazy.
This full studio, which a question would be like, do you ever see yourself stepping back? Like, do you ever see yourself stepping back in a way of like an EP role? Like you want to, maybe you're like, okay, cool, I have all my key players. I can be, a source of...
I'm like, can I just be like on like special projects or something?
Yeah, like,
I can see that.
why did you put yourself in it? It's because you only had you, obviously.
Yeah.
But then as you bring in all these other characters, like you might have a small role, or maybe you're not in it.
I do. Some of them I'm not in at all.
Yeah.
Actually, the majority I'm not in. I'm mostly behind the camera. I love directing. I do, especially when I love the script. When I love the script, I have to direct it. And then I put myself in it too when I love the script. So it's like, because I love directing more than I like acting.
Yeah.
Actually now they're filming without us now. So they don't necessarily need me. But like I said, I love doing it.
Yeah.
So I can't see me like just never being involved, but I can see like, hey, I'm doing this special project, but everything else is still running.
Yeah.
But I'm working on special projects with our team, and hey, these actors, they're really, really good. They've been doing this for so long, and we're doing like a special project. Sure. So yeah, I can see that.
So right now we're here, we're in Utah, your team's back home.
Yep.
Still knocking them out. And are you in touch with them? Are you giving direction? Are you like for that specific, like, could you actually walk us through, because this won't come out for a couple weeks. So like, what is right now, if you're away, how are you managing the production that's happening back home?
So my assistant, we first asked everyone's availability. So we need to know what cast is available to film this weekend. And then we get together and we figure out which scripts that we're going to film. I know the two that they're going to film, which is one that is written by Reggie's sister. It's going to be like for Valentine's Day. And then the other script I have to write. So I'm probably going to write it tonight. Casey, which is Reggie's cousin's wife, she's going to direct that one. And so they know what they're directing and they know what they're waiting on. If I don't come up with the script, then I'll come up with some kind of improv script that they could do, because with the actors that know how to improv the best.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow they're going to all meet up probably around 11 o'clock. They're going to go set up the areas that they need. The director is going to be there, which is more so the person who wrote it usually. And then the cast is going to come, and then they're going to start shooting.
So for you, trust-wise, like, you just have to trust the people that you've been training to be able to handle it.
Yeah, because that's how they learn. And the thing is, I don't have to post it if I don't like it.
True.
So if it's and it has to be, I haven't had one that was like so bad. Now it has been. Yes, I have. Well, it was so bad to me. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. I was like, what is this? This directing. He's not, is he reading off the paper? Like he's in it, he got the script in his phone. I can tell this is trash.
Yeah.
Posted not a single comment about him reading off his phone. It's like, are y'all not seeing what I'm seeing?
Right.
But anyway, yeah. So, but it's the best way for them to learn. And a lot of times that's how, if I didn't put out the content, how can my team learn?
Right.
They're not going to learn from just watching the video because we all have different opinions. And so the way that they learn is, did you like that? It was like, oh, I hated how that looked on the TV. And like we have those conversations.
Yeah.
Oh, I was really rushed on this part. And so usually it's like, oh, I was pushing for time on this part. We didn't have the props really, but you made it work. And so you have to learn how to be creative, and you got to learn how to pivot. And the only way you can do that is by really messing up.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think is the next 5 years? Like, what do you think the future of this looks like?
I see us being a top media company where we are releasing films everywhere on YouTube, on Netflix, on Hulu. I see it just being almost like a Tyler Perry Studios, or even letting like people come in and film or whatever. Yeah, I just think us being like one of the top media producers.
Is he based out of? He's in
Atlanta.
Have you ever met him?
No, I would like to though.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine what kind of knowledge you'd soak up from a dude like that, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think it seems like that's the trajectory of it, and as you keep adding elements, it's like in the scale you're already getting the properties. Like, I mean, that's what he did.
Right. Exactly.
Literally.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, I appreciate you having this little creative conversation with me.
I hope I didn't ramble too much. Like I
love
talk
it.
a lot. Yeah.
No. But I end it. So I always do this. I've been doing this since 240 some episodes. But I make you pick a hashtag. Okay. So anyone that's listening to this, I'm gonna put your Instagram and like all the bios or whatever. They're gonna have to go and put this hashtag so that we both know they listened to the whole episode all the way through. It's kind of fun because like 2 years from now they might see us.
Okay.
So you can pick up something, and some people go basic. But then there's some funny ones and there's creative ones. So I'm gonna let you pick whatever you want it to be.
Okay. The hashtag would be pound.
The word pound?
No,
Hashtag?
like hashtag. Yeah. So hashtag tell you a thing or three. Is that too big?
No, that's perfect.
Okay. Tell you a thing or three.
I love that. Cool. All right. Well, I appreciate you doing this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is dope.
Yeah, it's fun, right? Yo, if you made it to this part of the episode, thanks so much for listening to Black with No Cream. I love that you guys are tuning in still. More episodes to come. Join the community if you haven't yet. It's completely free. BWNC.com/join. We would love to have you. Please join. Thanks to Adobe for doing these bonus episodes. Go check out the other ones.